Welcome to my take apart and tear down of a mystery Macintosh. It came to me in a carrying case typical of that era. Later you will see that it has Macintosh on the back, just like the original Macintoshes had. Not 128K name tag, which Apple added later. It didn't say Macintosh 512K for Macintosh Plus, just Macintosh. So at first look, this could be an original 128K. Notice it even came with the Apple power cord. You can see the Apple logo on the power cord. I'll freeze the frame so you can see the logo clearly. You can see how Steve Jobs even wanted the Apple logo on his power cords. Also in the case, besides the other things I've already found like the mouse, there's the keyboard. This particular machine I purchased for $70 on eBay. It was an estate sale in Kentucky. When I wrote to the seller, the woman selling it said that her husband passed away and she was hoping that it would find an owner that would take care of it. It's a bit of a mystery because she knew nothing about it and didn't know what its features were or what it could do. She just knew that her husband was the original purchaser and had some work done on it before he passed away. She didn't even know how to turn it on or if it even worked at all. And it had been in storage for many decades. Looks like it might be an original Macintosh, the first 128K model. So I decided to do this video for Macintosh, and I'm going to tell you more about this nice machine. As I turn it around and look at the back, you can see that thankfully there's no battery in there corroded. There are 5 places for screws on these. The top 2 screws and the battery compartment screw, and the 2 bottom screws. Just so you know, I'd worked on this machine earlier. I'd fixed the floppy drive. I put it back together again so I could do this teardown with you. Now, I only put the 2 bottom screws in it. It almost literally fell off just now when I tried to pull the back off. It's been off before. Now this is where we have to stop just for a moment for safety. I have provided for you a PDF on my website, ComputerhobbyShop.com. There you will see how to safely discharge a cathode ray tube. You need to know that working on these can be very dangerous. There's a high voltage up to 15,000 volts. Not much amperage, but even though you've turned them off and they've sat for a while, they don't necessarily bleed all that voltage off, and it could shock you, stop your heart, or kill you from electrical shock. So be careful and discharge your cathode ray tube before you proceed if you're going to work on one yourself. I found something unique when I took it apart the first time. You see that little roll? It looks like a little egg roll, gray little round thing. That's actually a rolled up SCSI cable. This motherboard has been upgraded, and they usually do that to the original 128s. Weren't very powerful at all, and they would put more memory in them. They would put an additional board on them. The boards could have SCSI capabilities, which is a nice thing, and a machine with more memory is always better to have. What I'm doing right now is disconnecting the cabling that is on that new motherboard upgrade, and I'll do all the disconnections before I pull the board out. These boards are thicker, the upgrade sections. They stand on top of the original board or the upgraded board that's put in, and they won't pull out easily like they normally would. Normally you would slide the board straight out and it would come out of the case, but in this case you have to pull it from its side because the board is too thick now. And you'll watch how I do this. It'll sound loud, but it'll work. I'll pull the board out that way, and then we'll disassemble it. Well, the reason I want to disassemble it is so that I can see what the original motherboard's capacity is. There are some markings on the original motherboard that might tell us something like 128K or 512K. I can promise you this is a 512K board, been upgraded from a 128. They took that board and they added to it the upgrade is on top of that. So it had 512K, and the upgrade is another 1.5 megabytes. So the total upgrade is 2 megabytes plus SCSI on a 512K board. And I will go ahead and put the board back in without the upgrade, boot it to the OS, look at the memory, confirm what it is, then take it back out, put it back together again, put it back in, boot it, confirm it with the upgrade. I just had this strange thought, and I wonder, is it possible alien technology upgraded this machine, and will they come back for it? We're going to take a close look at that motherboard and exactly what upgrade is in there. What company made it? What capacity does it have for RAM? we'll talk about that. Here you see I've removed the standoffs that hold it on, and I've the insulator that goes above the connector, keeps the motherboard from touching the solder points, and I've disconnected it from the CPU. Zooming in on the upgrade, we can see that it is a SuperMac Technology Enhanced product from 1986, a revision 3 of the upgrade board. Zooming back out, we can see that there are 6 256K SIM slots and an SC-SI cable connector just to the right of those. Flipping it upside down, we can see how it was connected to the CPU. And here is a snapshot of the connector disconnected from the CPU. Collectors really like to find these with the original motherboards. Of course, this is the upgraded motherboard. I personally am more interested in the tech features than the collectible value. As you can see, the board has markings of 128K or 512K, and the 512K is the one that has a letter inside of it, so it has been selected, meaning the original 128K board has been replaced. I'm ready to put the 512K motherboard back in the Mac and test it. Thankfully, I didn't need the aliens to help me. After sliding back in the 512K motherboard without the SuperMac technology upgrade, I'm now ready to test that motherboard itself and prove it's just 512K. First, I insert a blank disk just to make sure the eject system I fixed earlier still worked to eject the disk. Here you see me booting the bare motherboard without the upgrade. I'm starting out with the lowest system I can have, version 1. The original board doesn't have a lot of memory, so 512 is all it's got, so it's booting slow. Version 1.1 of the Finder does not actually report the RAM to us at all, so we'll have to use a higher version. And then I'll boot to 4.1. Zooming in, we can clearly see it says 512K. Well, that confirms it, doesn't it? And then 6.1. Original board doesn't have a lot of memory, so 512 is all it's got. So it's booting slower the higher the operating system. Once again, zooming in with System 6, we can see it says 512K. Okay, I've conceded us humans need alien technology to help this machine be better. Please, Mr. Alien, make us a nice upgrade. And then put it back together again. This is a nice upgrade. Now I'm booting it with an upgrade as well. Notice it's booting a little bit faster. I notice it says 2048K of RAM or 2 megabytes ported in the About window. Now I'll boot into System 4.1. Again, with a 2048K, those aliens sure knew what they were doing. And then 1.1 just to make sure it could still run the oldest operating system. Interesting upgrade. Regretfully, there's no time to try the SCSI port if I want to get this out before Macintosh is over, but I can give you a few more neat things. Here is a few bonus pictures and my closing thoughts that I'm sure you'll like to hear. First, how do you think the added upgrade affects the temperature inside the case? Well, surely it gets hotter, so how would they try to lower the added heat in the case? Why, an ugly and loud fan, of course, glued right in the back. Plus, the power requirement for the fan, as well as another added power molex for the secondary motherboard add-on itself. What do you think it does to the already taxed analog power supply board that the early Mac suffered from overheating? Well, this upgraded model still needs an analog board capacitor and solder joint fix. It actually has melted connectors on the analog board, so that's a fix for another day. And the upgrade, although much needed, would probably have been something that Steve Jobs would have never signed off on. This has been a fun project. I hope you enjoyed it. Thanks for watching my videos. Don't forget to visit ComputerhobbyShop.com where you can learn about more alien technology upgrades and save technology from the landfills. Remember, Computer Hobby Shop is non-profit. Thank you for your time and see you in the next video.